Hello, ladies. So I have had some questions about how I do my pedicures. Um, Now it's pretty easy. I'm going to show you my little toesies. Super cute, right? But my toenails are really short. So I'm going to show you via my fingers, because you don't want to look at my toes all day, because I was like crazy close up of my toes. Sorry about that. But I'm going to show you on my fingers how I size my wraps for my toes. Now it's really easy. You just take some regular old Scotch tape. Take a little bit of this. Sorry, it's got cat fur on it. Okay, anyways, so I'm going to take my piece of tape. And now I can do this one of two ways. On my toes, it's going to be a lot easier to do this. If your toenails aren't like the same curve on each side, you'll want the sticky side up over your nail. Then, of course, you'll have two hands to do this. And then you can trace with a pen. I'm just going to stick this on here because I don't have two hands. And I'm doing this with my fingers. But this can also, of course, be done on your fingers for those extra accent wraps that you have that don't actually fit your extra fingers. You can trim them down this way. So I'm going to take my handy dandy ballpoint pen, not the gel kind, because that takes a while to dry unless you're doing it on the sticky side. You can do the gel on the sticky side. And then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to trace on, if it'll cooperate with me. Come on, pen. We want to work today. Of course, now my pen doesn't want to work. Okay, you can also use a felt Sharpie pen if you don't have a ballpoint pen that works. So we're just going to trace along my cuticle here and up to the tip of my nail. This is exactly how I do it for my toes. I always go just to the tip of my nail, and if I go past, because it's kind of hard to do that sometimes on your toes, I like to trace where the tip of my nail is, because when you're doing this on your toes, you are wanting to use that big Pedi wrap as sparingly as you possibly can. 2 seconds here. Pull out a Pedi pack for you to look at. Aha. Okay, so say we've got this as our Pedi. We are going to want to use these colorful pieces as much as possible. This piece here is what I use on my big toe. And then I use this on all my little toes. So I will use these colorful pieces on 2 toes, and then I'll use the white on the others. For me, I will actually, when I use this big one, I'll cut it exactly in half, and then I will try and trim the extra of what's left on this one half as close to the nail as possible on my big toe, so that if need be, I can use that extra little bit that I would normally file off for another little toe if need be. So on the back of your wrap is where you want to put your newly drawn nail, and I will line it up just outside of where the wrap is. So say this is one of my little toes. So I will want to make sure that my outline of my cuticle, for where the cuticle actually is, sits just outside where the actual wrap is. So when I turn this over, I can see it on this other side, because you're going to want to cut on the inside of this line that you just drew, so that you do not have anything that's going to be touching skin on your little toes or on your little fingers or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back on my little thingamadig. So when you are doing this, you can actually cut out all your toes and like maybe number it on the toe or something like that inside. And put these and position them on the back side of your wrap so that you know what's going to go where and which toe is going to have exactly what design on it. Which is how I do it. I kind of position it and try and make sure that everything's going to look exactly how I want on my actual nail. Now, when you've got it on the non-sticky side, it's going to reverse because you're putting this on the back side of your nail wrap instead of the front side. So then when you put it on your toe, it's going to be the opposite way. So if your toes aren't symmetrical, like one side maybe the cuticle cuts in a little bit more, you'll want to draw it on your sticky side versus your not sticky side. So anywho, once you have that positioned exactly so I've got my cuticle showing on my opposite side. I've got this on my back side. You are going to take your handy dandy cuticle scissors, which are somewhere. Here we go. Oh, sorry. I'm throwing my cuticle scissors. So you'll take your handy dandy cuticle scissors and you are going to, I'm just going to cut this bad boy in half because it'll make it easier. But you're going to cut along the inside of your drawing here. Don't cut off where the tip of your toe is because you don't want that, you don't want to, sorry, I can't concentrate on cutting and talk at the same time. You want to have a little bit extra that you can hold on to when you're putting on your wrap. When you're doing this for your toes, it might just be a little tiny bit that you leave at the top, or maybe like a triangle type deal. I will sometimes end up with, because I'm saving room for other toes or whatever, I'll end up with only this much nail wrap from where I drew at the tip of my toe that I'll be able to hang on to. Now, with this, you'll also notice that you don't really have any extra play with the extra plastic around the sides for your wrap. So you'll have to use your cuticle pusher, your orange stick, or your finger to pull back that plastic from your nail wrap. But when you're done, you should have a fairly perfectly sized wrap here. So I'm just going to kind of pull this back a little bit. Use my orange stick. Oh, no, that's just the tape. Goodness gracious. Okay, so we'll take the tape off. And luckily, I left myself a little bit of space down here. Now, it's going to be kind of tricky, especially because your toes are, sorry if this isn't focusing very well, but especially because your toes are so little, it might be a little bit tricky, but make sure that you have time to take on your toes before you do this, like before bed or, you know, in a little bit of time that you have for yourself. Then you can place your wrap on your toe like so. Not exactly up to the cuticle because of course you don't want that. But then I will just make sure that everything fits right, and I'll actually go ahead and press everything down because my toes are really, my toenails are really flat. I'll just go ahead and press everything down right then and there. Because at least with my toes, that's what works best for me. Then I will take my heater and I'll heat it for a few seconds. I do not heat for more than about 3 seconds on my toes. If you are doing a thicker wrap like the glow-in-the-dark, maybe about 4 seconds. But just heat it enough to where you feel that little bit of heat going into your nail. And then smooth out with your cuticle pusher. Voila, voila. But as you can see, I now have a perfect fit for my nail. And on your toes, if there's a little bit of, you know, whoops-de-doo on one side or the other, nobody's going to know because that's your little toes and they can't see those tiny itty-bitty details on your tiny itty-bitty little cute toes. So then you can, of course, trim down and then file your toes. Or if you really want to, which is what I did, you can also clip your toenails. So say it's time to clip them anyways. Do your wraps first and then take your clippers and clip your wrap and your toenail at the same time. Because then you don't have to file. And then everything's taken care of for you already and it looks awesome. So sorry this video ran a little bit longer than I expected. But I hope that's helpful, and I hope your next pedicure is absolutely beautiful and perfect and looks just as cool as mine does. If you have any other questions, though, please let me know, and I will be more than happy to help and share any tips I may have. All right, ladies, happy jammy-cation, replication, pretty toenails. Yay! Okay, that was weird. Anyways, bye, guys.